All right, friends, it's T-Man, and I'm back with a brand new video. Again, on our good friend JasonBlaha, the strength guy and the fitness guy of the industry, the fitness industry, even though his channel is never growing, ever going to grow again because he bought his subs and YouTube is punishing him. Believe me, YouTube will punish you. YouTube punished me because I got a community strike. But I got rid of the community strike. But then I had to get another 1,000 subscribers until they would monetize me again. See, that had to work so much harder the second time. But anyways, yeah, I'm very careful now. I never make the same mistake twice. Anyway, in this video, we're gonna react to the gym lifting, recruiting, fitness gear slave himself, JasonBlaha. So hold on a second. So Blaha says, oh shit, I don't know where that went now. There it is. So Blaha says how very high reps can make you stronger. Okay, how very high reps can make you stronger. Okay, well, let's find out.
High reps absolutely increase your strength, but not in the way that people always think. Hey everybody, it's JasonBlaha here, and I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. So like when you guys see me doing some of this.
Here's the funny part. Everything works in the beginning, and then it stops working. See that? Just like when they say in NCBI, a unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the next day due to muscle damage. Okay. In one of the NCBI reports, it says there was much less damage in the second week than the first. One of the proposed things why there was less damage was because there was an increase in sarcomere number in muscle fibers. That was one of them. The question is this: you have to find out why these things stop working. And usually things stop working in the human body because it protects. The body is just there to keep you alive. It's always trying to protect you from something that is unnatural. It deems unnatural. This lifting of weight and doing these things, trying to build muscle and stuff, is unnatural. But you have to find the mechanism that would make this keep creating muscle. You have to figure out, how does the body protect itself from building more muscle? See what I mean? And why does it do that? Then you have to, once you discover that, then you move for that which will keep causing it to keep creating this protective effect of keep creating more muscle. If that's the goal, if that's what you want to do, if you want to create more muscle. See what I mean? But remember, the body creates muscle to protect from building any more muscle, because one of the proposed methods, the reason why they were getting less damage in the they got less damage in the second week was what? One of the proposed things were they got an increase in sarcomere number and muscle fibers. So if they built more muscle, then that must mean it's protecting them from getting any more damage. So you have to do something to get more damage. Now, concentric exercise won't damage muscles because it goes in the opposite direction. So what causes muscles to damage? Eccentric, because it goes down with gravity. See what I mean? So that causes a greater stretch on the muscle fibers. We know that stretching, multiple stretches will cause this fiber to damage, and it will cause it to adapt by doing what? Creating more of these sarcomeres in series and in parallel. That's the whole idea. So you have to discover what is preventing it, and then you shoot for that. You shoot for causing it to keep damaging. You have to keep damaging it. But Blaha's not damaging anything other than his brain.
Max effort work. Again, people look at this and they think, okay, this is where we get all of our strength. Now, from a neural drive and everything else, yes, heavy singles are the fastest path to building your strength up, and they are way more effective than doing 3, 4, or 5 reps on. You'll get people who say silly stuff like, well, 5x5 is powerlifting. No, not really. That's kind of novice hypertrophy. Right? That's used to make you big. 5x5s are not really powerlifting or maximum strength training. Heavy singles are. Now, granted, you're going to see me some of this stuff.
Again, bodybuilding is not a sport. You can't carry it over to bodybuilding. This 5x5 stuff and all that is not going to work in bodybuilding, Blaha. You understand me?
See me doing some rep work, like doing that work set here with 550.
Look, lifting a weight without the eccentric and dropping it is obviously, hey man, let me see how big I can, let me see if I can build muscle, see how big I can get by lifting a weight off the floor and then just letting it drop concentrically. Well, that is really stupid, right? If you think that you could build muscle lifting concentrically, which when all muscle is built in the eccentric as opposed to concentric, then what the hell are you doing there? Are you going to be the first person in history to like, hey man, maybe I'll build a muscle concentrically? Well, yeah, in 100 years, maybe, right? Yeah, you're going to reach the fucking, what is it? Whatever that book, that fucking thing.
But, realistically, it's going to be the heavy singles, right? Like, you see me do this 500 squat coming up. I got a 500 good morning in here.
Okay, whatever, man. This is just ridiculous. Look at this guy. It's pure lifting slave.
That's the stuff that gets you.
That gets you what?
A 500 good morning in here. That's.
You have a 500 good morning. You know what? He could never control this weight going down. Let's just say he's lifting. I don't know what he's lifting here. 1, 2, 3. Let's say he's lifting 500 pounds. Okay. He could never lower that weight, that 500 pounds with control, because he's too weak. That's why he drops it. You understand? Why are you weak in these? Why are people weak in the eccentric? Because that's where it builds muscles to make you strong. Hello? Because that is the most dangerous exercise. Eccentric is the most dangerous exercise in anything that you do, as opposed to concentric. Concentric, I've never seen anybody get injured concentrically. Everybody gets injured eccentrically because people are weak effers on the eccentric. Get it? Your body's weak on the eccentric. So how does it adapt to eccentric exercise? By doing what? By building more effing muscle to make you stronger so you don't get effing fucking damaged. Get it? Like fucking injured or whatever. Going into a hospital. You get it, dude? But Blaha it doesn't register in his head. It doesn't register in a lot of people's heads. And that's why people in the gym, your body, you don't realize your body is making you ass cheek squeeze your muscles in the gym. It's a reaction. It's an instinct, and you're really going on your instinct in the gym too, because your body knows that eccentric is dangerous and it doesn't want you to do eccentric exercises. That's why when you go around, you see all these gym slaves in the gym lifting, these lifting slaves, they're all lifting concentrically. Why? Why aren't they doing anything eccentrically heavy? Because the instinct in your brain and your body is saying, no, don't do that. Do what is easy. Concentric. Because why? Because concentric, it will never injure you. It's dangerous to do eccentric exercises, okay? That's why. Now, it's not dangerous. It's not dangerous if you know how to go about it properly. You understand what I'm trying to explain to you? It's only dangerous for people that are weak in the eccentric because they never built themselves up eccentrically. So they're stronger in the concentric lifting, but they're weak eccentrically. Do you understand me? Because they never built any muscle. So, but people are going to argue with you. They think they think lifting is a competition. They're going to argue about body weight. They're going to say, well, I could lift more than you concentrically. I'm stronger than you. I can lift more concentrically. And my body weight is very low. So, but then they go, well, if you can't lift what your body weight is, then you must be weak. Yeah, but they practice to get there because it's based on nervous system. Look, concentric exercise is based on practice nervous system, okay? Now, eccentric exercise is based on what? Getting more what? Myofibrillars. You understand me? But here's the thing. The fact that you get more myofibrillars and it's a more superior and more difficult exercise, eccentric is more difficult, is more superior. There is more pain involved in eccentric exercise. Concentric is easy. There's no pain involved. There's no damage. There's no nothing. It's not taxing on your body like eccentric exercise. Trust me, everybody hates doing full squats ass to grass because it's painful. That's why. So anything that you do in the eccentric, it's taxing and it's painful. They don't like it. The body doesn't like it, and that's why it prevents you from doing it subconsciously. It makes you keep lifting concentrically in the gym. And you slaves don't even realize that your brain subconsciously makes you lift concentrically. That's why every time I turn around to people, I go, why are you doing that? That's a partial rep, eh? For your tricep. And then they go, yeah, that's partial rep. You're just squeezing your muscle at the bottom. Where's the eccentric? And then they go, yeah, there's no eccentric. I go, why? Why isn't there any? That's where all the muscle's built, in the eccentric, not concentric. Why are you doing that if you're coming here to build muscle? And then they just are like, yeah. And then they continue in that behavior. Like Blaha. Blaha lifts concentrically, okay? Why can't he do this eccentrically? Well, no, why? Because he's weak. And he knows subconsciously his body's telling him, don't lower it. You want to know why? Because your spine is going to go out, and your muscle and everything else. You're going to get fucking in the hospital. You're going to end up in the hospital.
This stuff that gets you strong. That's where you get that strength.
I just love when people try to compare and say, well, I could lift. If you can't lift your body weight, then you're not strong. Well, it depends on what you're focused on doing. I don't know. Some people are focused, they really are focused on trying to build muscle. Then you have other people that are just focused on trying to get good at lifting concentrically. See what I mean? But then they're an all-round athlete where you're good at concentric and good at eccentric. But if you are good, here's the thing. If you're good at concentric, you suck at eccentric. But if you are good at eccentric, which is the hardest and superior, then you will always be better than these other people concentrically. You'll be stronger than them, dude. Get it?
But what people have to remember is that hypertrophy raises the strength ceiling, and when you do these different exercises, you can find where you're weak.
Different exercise, and you want to know why? Because eccentric exercise is astronomically harder than concentric. That's why.
Right, and this is one thing that we do, like in this sort of conjugate system where you max on a lot of different lifts. You'll find different weak links that come out. Okay?
I mean, what was that? One rep, bro. Look, he's melting. Look at his chest. His arms are so small. This is sarcopenia.
So, for example, like you'll see coming up right here. See this closed grip press, right? I got this closed grip bench, 320 on the buffalo bar.
Right.
Nice pause, closed grip here. Okay, and this is obviously very close, 16 inches apart. So people see this, and you can see that my triceps are weak on this. So, what's the question you might ask? Well, if we build the triceps, would you get stronger at this? Yes. Build the triceps and get stronger at this. In fact, I used to close grip 365, but I've gotten smaller in the last few years since then, so I'm building that back up. So when you look at something like that, you look at these different lifts and go, man, if you had bigger triceps, that closed grip would have gone up. Well, how do you build bigger triceps? With rep work, okay? Yeah, we can do 10 and 12s and stuff on dips, extensions, things like that. That'll help. But what if we do really high reps, band work, 20, 30 reps with band press down, stuff like that? Will that improve that tricep strength? And the answer is yes, because the triceps will get bigger. Okay? And if you have something that is truly a lacking muscle, I think you need a little bit of both. Yeah, I think you need a little bit of both at that point. So like right here on this squat that you saw me do here. Right, notice that hip extension weakness a little bit.
Yes, I noticed the squat. It's concentric, okay? There's no eccentric. The reason why, because it's subconscious. It's also subconscious, like I said in this video. It's subconscious. Your body simply is protecting you from going down eccentrically because it knows it's dangerous. It's dangerous. It just knows. Somehow it's dangerous, and so it prevents you from doing that. And then you go and you go with the flow. You go with the flow, and then you can't figure out why you're not building muscles. That's why people are all frustrated in the gym. They're not building their muscle. They're not getting bigger and stronger, and they're all frustrated that they're taking every kind of powder, this, that, supplement, you name it, drugs, this, that. They're faking it to make it, whatever, eating lots of glycogen, bulk dieting, all this kind of weird shit, bro, when all they had to do was do the eccentric exercise. You understand me? You understand? But it's uncomfortable. And I know it's because it's uncomfortable. And your body simply doesn't want to do things that are uncomfortable. So you have to put it in that position. You understand me? You have to put it in that position to be uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable to get something. You have to be comfortable enough to be uncomfortable to get something out of this lifting. Otherwise, you'll just be a lifting slave to the concentric like Blaha.
Getting stronger at some high rep reverse hypers will help with that. Well, that's going to be like 20, 30 reps. It's usually how many reps we do on that. So that's the...
Like I said, he's going to be the first person to be in the Guinness Book of World Records to actually build a muscle lifting concentrically, possibly in 100 years.
Where you look at stuff like this and go, okay, so will high reps make you stronger? Will a high rep isolation or a machine make you stronger? The answer is of course.
Will high reps make you stronger? Well, I don't know. Like high rep, let's say a person never lifted before and they just could do some high reps in the gym. They got better at lifting, yeah. I don't know. High reps. High reps what? Eccentrically or concentrically? What is Blaha talking about? You mean getting better at lifting weights concentrically or getting physically stronger eccentrically? What are you talking about?
Now, of course, after that close grip bench there, this stuff is from that same workout. You see me doing some dips. You see me doing some leg extensions.
Yeah, I see
these
him
are all
doing
ended up
dips.
in about that 10 to 12 rep.
I see him doing dips. He's scared because it's subconscious. He's scared to do eccentrics. You want to know why he's scared? Because he's old now. I'm way older than him. I'm like 10 years older than him. But I'm not scared to do it all the way down. I'm not scared of any of these fucking things. And I suffer from, look, bro, I suffer from nerve damage and stenosis. And I'm still not scared to do any of these things, even though I know, and even my brain is telling me subconsciously this is dangerous for me because of my problem. But I still do it. You know that? I still do it, bro. But this guy, he's just so chicken to go down. Because maybe he knows subconsciously it's telling him you're going to end up in the hospital. He's gotten so many injuries lifting. If you watch his old videos, because I know Blaha, a lot of us know Blaha. And in many of his videos, he claimed how many injuries he got. And the reason why he got those injuries, because the moment he moved out of his comfort zone called concentric lifting, and he went into a zone where he was uncomfortable, eccentric exercise, he got injured like every other power lifter out there. They are weak eccentrically.
That'll help. Now, but we're getting over into higher reps. But
he can't make it for a full eccentric. He can't, because if he was to do it, he'd just die right there, end up in a hospital.
Build the triceps? Yes. Will it build the triceps in a way that helps with that close grip bench? Yes. So of course you can do that stuff.
How would he know that it could build a tricep? Only somebody that built it could tell you that. Here's the thing. Only somebody that actually did eccentric exercises and discovered that that's what builds muscle could tell you that that is what builds muscle and how to go about it properly. But somebody like Blaha cannot tell you how to build muscle because concentric exercises are not associated with that. They're associated with a loss of sarcomeres in series. You understand me? Because they're shortening. So probably the most important one is the one in series. That is the most important because it's associated with mostly eccentric exercise. And so that is very important for explosive power, power strength, speed, a bunch of stuff, okay? So there you go. Now, I'm not saying that in parallel isn't important too. They're important. But here's the thing. If they elongate to a certain point where they can't elongate anymore, it'll add more sarcomeres in parallel automatically and it will keep elongating. You understand me? In series. It'll keep doing it because your body will have to do it because it has to compensate, it has to adapt to all these crazy eccentric exercises if that's what you're doing. But in this, what he's doing, it's adapting by shrinking the muscle. That's why he can't figure out why his arms aren't fucking growing. They do not grow concentric lifting in concentric lifting. That is not for building muscles. Muscles don't adapt to concentric lifting by building more muscle. You want to know how it fucking adapts? by shrinking the muscle, giving you more force production, aligning them in parallel so you can press weights in the opposite direction, leaving the planet. How stupid is that?
Right, you can do that stuff. Same thing here, though. Watching me do some weighted chins from a dead hang. Well, if my biceps got a little stronger, would I be better at weighted chins? Yeah, so doing some high rep curls, even doing some high rep band curls. It'll help with that.
He's adapted. He doesn't do enough, and he's scared on this exercise to completely elongate his biceps. He's scared because I know it's subconscious because he's weak eccentrically. So if you're weak eccentrically and you don't do any eccentrics, it's subconscious. Your body's preventing you from doing eccentric exercises. I know this for a fact.
That stuff matters. So even those 20 rep sets with something like a band or a cable can improve your maximum strength. Because if my biceps were stronger, I'd be stronger at chins. Because look at my back. Like, my back is good. My back is not a weakling on any sort of chin up or pull up. In fact, I can pretty much.
So what's the hottest online slots casino in Ontario?
My back is good. My back is not a weakling on any sort of.
If you have to tell everybody that your back's not a weak link, this and that. If you have to tell everybody that, then it must be. See what I mean?
Chin up or pull up. In fact, I can pretty much do similar weights with a wide grip pull up, real close to what I can do with a chin. We're usually stronger on the chins because I need more bicep. If I want a stronger chin up. So again, you can look at your heavy work and find those weak links. And again, a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. But realistically, if you have
a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. How do you get big muscles? Well, I ain't lifting concentrically. That's how, Blaha.
Muscle that is truly limiting you, you should probably hammer it into the ground. And that's where the really high rep stuff matters. Because, we can come in and do some 10s and stuff, right? We can do some 10 rep sets. You can do some weighted dips. You can do some heavy extensions to get the triceps bigger. But is that really enough? If the triceps are lacking that much, and keep in mind, I used to close grip 45 pounds more than that. Hey, that's a lot of tricep difference.
Okay.
The really high rep stuff helps get blood flow to those muscles. It helps build the tendons so that we can hit them harder. It helps with active recovery. So again, building that work capacity, building work capacity. Okay? So if I come and do a bunch of 20 rep or 30 rep band press downs, will I get stronger at these extensions? Will my elbows recover better? Will I have better tendons from it? Will I get better blood flow and strength on these extensions?
No, you won't, because it only happens in the eccentric. It's specific training for that. To get your ligaments and tendons stronger, your joints and everything, and your muscles and all of that, and your bone, it's based on eccentric exercise. It's not based on concentric lifting.
I think the answer is yes.
No.
If I get stronger on these extensions?
No, the answer is no. The answer is no. If you get stronger on these extensions concentrically, none of those things will happen. If anything, they'll get worse.
Since I know the dips are going to need to get stronger, will it improve my...
Gravity makes you strong. If you go out of gravity, it makes you weak. That's why astronauts in space, they get skinny and weak. Very weak and frail.
Dips, yes. Okay, it will improve, it will do that. And then that closed grip bench will go up. And that's the sort of questions Louis Simmons used to ask back in the day. He's like, okay, so...
Louis Simmons was a stupid fool, okay, that took steroids because he failed. He didn't understand the concept of gravity and how gravity makes you stronger, going eccentrically with weights.
If I look at where my weak link is on a bench press and I can see that the lockout is weak, well, I know that if I get stronger at a closed grip bench press, my lockout will get stronger.
You got stronger. You got better at lifting. You did not get stronger. If you did not get physically bigger, more muscle fibers, more myofibular growth, then you did not get stronger. I don't care what you say, man.
But what exercises can I do to get stronger at the closed grip bench press? Well, that may be a point where you need to be doing, do you need some dips? Do you need some extensions? Or someone like me?
Look, I'm not saying some people are not getting some myofibular growth. if they're doing full range of motion, they're doing full range of motion on their exercises, trying to get better. In their mind, they're trying to get stronger by either bench pressing or doing something. Yeah, but they're still doing full range of motion. They're still getting some eccentric there, definitely. To a degree. See what I mean? To a degree. But most of it will be concentric because it's full range of motion, and the eccentric is getting lighter and lighter, and their concentric is getting heavier and heavier. The muscle is now more protected from building any more myofibulars because of the eccentric is not heavy enough. And so it just becomes neural drive after that.
You're switching over now to primary closed grip again instead of messing with wide. Well, the dips will make it definitely improve that closed grip bench. Okay, they'll definitely improve it. But how do we make the dips stronger? Well, we get the triceps
Yeah, how do you make the dip stronger? Easy. Do eccentric exercise, bro.
stronger. Triceps. So, and it's the same thing with some of that hip extension, right? So we saw that hip extension was a little weak on that squat. Of course, in here several months later, I just did that squat in there. You'll see me in this clip somewhere doing like a 500-pound good morning. I think it was early in it. Okay, building that hip extension up. But how did I get it there? How did I get the
Ask yourself this question. These phony fake bodybuilders on drugs, they literally pose and they've torn muscles. Posing. How crazy is that? You tear a muscle posing because very weak. When they try to pose eccentric, here's the thing. What happens is this. They try to pose eccentrically, these fake bodybuilders on drugs, because they're concentric lifters. They continue in that behavior, and then they build a phony body taking drugs. So then they pose eccentrically, the muscle. They stretch it out eccentrically, and bam, it tears. So why did it tear? Because they're weak eccentrically. Like Blaha, like all the rest of these lifters, they're all weak eccentrically. They don't even know what builds muscle. They don't understand it. They're like, why isn't it building? I'm still lifting concentrically. I'm lifting heavier. I got a stronger. But how come I'm not getting a bigger? All these people complaining about, I got a stronger, but I didn't get it bigger. You never got a stronger because strength comes in the eccentric form. That's where strength comes out. All strength comes out there. Shit, that's why science will tell you eccentric is superior to concentric. What makes it superior? Strength and gains. That's what makes it superior. Okay, what's concentric? What's concentric? Nothing. You got better at doing something. Like skateboarding, dude. Huh.
mornings up to 500? It wasn't just by doing that many good mornings. Okay, it was by doing tons of reverse hyperextensions with high reps. That carries over for me. So you do those and then you do those reverse hypers after. It builds that hip extension, builds the low back, helps with the active recovery of it. Okay?
I love Blaha, the way he walks, trying to show himself. He's funny.
That active recovery lets you go really heavy on stuff like that, handle some big tonnages, and then recover from it.
Look at him. He's just pulling his arms up. He's not using his back at all. He's not using his back at all. Like, I mean, it's a back exercise, bro. Like I said, many people make this mistake. It's not based on concentric lifting. If you keep concentrically lifting, your back is never going to develop. It'll get pumped up, but it won't develop.
So yes, this stuff has a place. So I am the first to say that, look, 30 reps on a reverse hyper, 30 reps on a band press out, 30 reps on a band curl.
30 reps are just going to exhaust you. You understand? It just exhausts you. And in eccentric exercise, you don't need more rep work. What you need is more sets. You need to add more sets, not more reps.
Will help you get stronger because it will improve work capacity, help some of the hypertrophy.
No, it won't. It'll just make you better. Those high reps that he's talking about, they'll just make you better at doing these things, these so-called exercises, whatever it is he's doing here.
Those muscles help with your tendons. It will help build the base that you need to build those muscles bigger. It'll facilitate better muscle growth.
No, it won't. Even from those. No, it won't. Look at Blaha. He has no legs. He has no calves, no legs. It's all concentric lifting. He's like I said, he's gonna be the first in the Guinness Book of World Record to produce a muscle, but it will take him 100 years. Which is let's see, what's the shortest path to becoming a millionaire? If I told you it was, you could do it in like a couple of months or do it in 100 years, which one would you take? Couple of months, right?
Other accessory movements, like the dips.
All these people going to the gym, lifting concentrically, and even if it is full range of motion, yeah, I love it. And then they show themselves, look at me 15 years later, 20 years later. Let's see what I look like. And it looks like they are stuck on newbie gains forever. And these people, these influencers, they'll admit it. They'll say you're stuck on these so-called newbie gains. They're not. There's no such thing as newbie gains. It means your body has adapted. That's what it means. You just don't know how to get out of this adaptation process, because I told you it's subconscious. People, you don't understand. It's subconscious when you go to the gym. It's making you lift concentrically. It doesn't want you to lift eccentrically. And then you're all frustrated. Why aren't you building muscles? Because muscles do not build in the concentric lift.
Good mornings. Okay? This then carries over to your bench press, your squat, all these things. They absolutely have their place as tools in your toolbox, and staying injury-free and strong, because again, you're also building tendons.
See, right there, his subconscious kicked in. As he was coming down, it went, oh, and he has to go all the way back up again right there.
Blood flow and active recovery.
And he comes down, he stops right there. Got to come back up again.
With a lot of those things.
Just before he ends up in the hospital.
And that improved work capacity. This is the key to getting strong, guys.
Yes, that's the key to getting strong, guys, is listen to Blaha. The key to getting strong is... This is the key to getting strong. Okay. By subconsciously not doing eccentrics, yes.
All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yes, it's been very informative. Do not do anything that Blaha says. That's my recommendation. I'll see you in the next one. Do the opposite of everything he does. See you later, man, and you'll succeed.